As for the question, would I recommend the book? Absolutely. I mean, if you've ever read an Emily Henry book, you kind of know roughly what to expect. An easy to read romance that kind of follows a certain pattern. Hi everyone, my name is Terry Westwell and today is Tuesday, which means it's time to discuss the Panic at the Book Club book of the week, which is Happy Place by Emily Henry. If you like romance, fantasy, or even thriller, basically anything fiction book related, then I suggest you head on over to the channel's intro video, where you can find out more information on how you can take part in this online book club. We list the next 4 books down below and on TikTok along with the discussion dates. That way you can choose the genre that best suits you and the best time frame to read it in. We also accept your book feedback in a wide manner of ways. Post your comment below a video, send in a voice note, or even send in a short video clip of you discussing the book. Alternatively, you can just send me a direct message on Instagram. Harriet and Wynne are the perfect couple. They go together like bread and butter, like gin and tonic, or like Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds. Every year they take a holiday from their lives to drink far too much wine and spend time with their favourite people in the world. Except this year, they're lying through their teeth because Harriet and Wynne haven't been together for 6 months and they still haven't told anyone. But the cottage is for sale and this will be the last time they'll be here together. They can't bear to break their friends' hearts, so they can fake it for 1 more week. But how can you pretend to be in love and get away with it in front of the people who know you best? First, we'll discuss any spoiler-free points before moving on to a clearly marked section of the video which will contain spoilers and more specifics about the book. The chapter lengths in this book were all pretty inconsistent. I mean, the longest was about 20 pages, and with an easy-to-read romance like this, 20 pages fly by, so it wasn't exactly the longest. However, there were a ton of chapters that were much, much shorter. Like Emily Henry's usual style, Happy Place was such an easy read, and some of you may remember, but we did actually do Beach Read last year as part of Panic at the Book Club. As for the question, would I recommend the book? I would. At the time, I rated Beach Read a 4 out of 5 stars, but I think I actually liked this one more. I didn't expect it to get as emotional as it was, and I really liked the characters. They were so easy to love and incredibly funny at times. Despite the book flicking between the past and present so much, it was super easy to follow. I mean, personally, I would have preferred if there was something at the beginning of each chapter which just indicated when the chapter took place, at least a little bit clearer. However, that doesn't mean it wasn't ludicrously easy to figure it out, and I just feel like she did a really good job of spelling it out without making it feel like she was spelling it out for us. The ending wasn't particularly surprising, and I wouldn't say that there were exactly many twists or turns, but it's a romance book at the end of the day. I kind of think that that comes with the territory. It was still a hell of a journey and an enjoyable read that had me shouting at the book the whole way through. Whether or not it was my own frustrations with the characters, or it was just me spitting out my own theories on what I thought was going to happen next, the book definitely kept me gripped. Just your friendly spoiler alert, if you haven't read this book yet, I would suggest going doing that first, because beyond this point there will probably be spoilers. I loved this circle of friends. I mean, they were all so different and they had a level of banter that only really occurs when people have known each other for so long. The main character had some amazing comebacks and one-liners. even during some of the more tense moments in the book. I mean, she was definitely in her happy place because even during a stressful situation, you can tell that the character still relaxes a little. I did think it was pretty obvious from quite an early point in the book that Harriet didn't really enjoy her job, and maybe she was doing it more for her parents rather than for herself. I related to her in so many ways, and Win as well. I wasn't expecting the book to get so emotional in such a realistic way. There was definitely a chapter or two in there that I found particularly triggering, and I just couldn't help but reflect on them. I mean, it wasn't just about their relationship, it was also about how the things that people do and say affect others, whether or not it's your friends, your partner, or even your family. Like, you can't always control how people are going to react to things, but people could certainly be a little bit more thoughtful on how the things they do and say are going to affect their loved ones. I mean, Harriet spent so long doing something that she didn't really want to do, all because her parents were doing something that they didn't even realize they were doing. I mean, Win was his own worst nightmare because he was constantly comparing himself to his sisters and people who were going places because he didn't feel intelligent or because he never really knew what it was that he wanted to do. There were a lot of emotional pieces to go through in this book that just wasn't all related to that romantic element, which I really did enjoy about this book. As soon as we found out that the door to the wine cellar had been shut, locking Win and Harriet inside, I immediately started shouting Parent Trap.
And when they do, they'll have to meet again, face to face, after all these years. Thank you.
I just knew that some Lindsay Lohan type mischief was afoot, and I was there for it. I did suspect that at the end the wedding was actually going to be for them and not for Sabrina and Path. That would have been a bold move on their friend's part, but I was really glad that they didn't go down that route and instead did go down a more realistic route, even if they did almost do the whole airport cliche. This book was a lot steamier than I remember Beach Read being. I mean, it was only 1 or 2 pages of nicely written steam, certainly not enough to consider smut. Not what I would consider smut anyway. I mean, it just had a little sprinkling of spice and it was still a slow burn, which I both love and feel impatient for. Overall, Happy Place had me fully invested. I mean, I loved the humour, and when Harriet discovered that Win might be in a relationship with someone else, I was just as shocked, hurt, and convinced as she was. I mean, one of the things that I liked most about this book is probably the message that I felt behind it, and it isn't one that you often see in a lot of romance. You can't just rely on other people to make you happy, and sometimes you just have to work on yourself. That doesn't always have anything to do with your loved ones, and equally, it's just as important to talk to your loved ones about how you're feeling and not just shut them out. As for the question, would I recommend the book? Absolutely. I mean, if you've ever read an Emily Henry book, you kind of know roughly what to expect. An easy to read romance that kind of follows a certain pattern. I think Happy Place was funny, emotional, and relatable in ways that you don't often see in romance novels. And will I be reading any more of Emily Henry? Oh, absolutely. In fact, I already have 2 of her books on my TBR, but because we've already done 2 of them as a part of Panic at the Book Club, I may just read them in my spare time. That is, unless you would particularly like to read them as part of Panic at the Book Club, then please feel free to let me know. But let me know what you thought. Did you enjoy the book? Gemma said that she loved some of Emily Henry's other books, but she just doesn't understand the hype over this one. She definitely preferred some of her others. It is still a good story, and Gemma did rate it a 4-star out of 5. She was just expecting a little more. 2 exes, a group of friends on their last holiday together. There was definitely a lot of drama. The ending made her happy, and it was a great outcome for everyone. But perhaps she just set her expectations a little too high. Next week there'll be no Panic at the Book Club, however we'll be picking right back up on the 14th of May with Bride by Ali Hazelwood. So don't forget to get your comments and thoughts in by Monday the 13th at the latest to be a part of the discussion. You can now do this on YouTube, TikTok or Instagram. Then we will be missing yet another week before returning with 5 Survive by Holly Jackson. But don't forget, if you do need a little bit longer to read a book, we do list the next 4 books down below and on TikTok, along with the discussion dates. That way you can choose the genre that best suits you and the best time frame to read it in. Thank you all for joining, and if you like this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe because it's always appreciated, and I will see you next week. Bye!